Hi guys. Hello, hello. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy beginning of a completely new decade in the 20s. 2020. Super exciting. I wanted to open up this month's videos by addressing 2020 and some of the more common aspects that we're going to see about 2020, just so we're all a little bit more informed, okay? So, to start off in regards to 2020, this is a very practical year. I think that's what I would call 2020, just as a general summary. It's a very practical year. Okay. And the reason for that is because we have a lot of Earth energy, a lot of planetary energy going on in the sign of Capricorn. We have Jupiter, we have Saturn, we have eclipses, and we have quite a few eclipses this year too, by the way. We have the South Node, we have Pluto going all through the sign of Capricorn. So, for those of us who like to make New Year's resolutions, this is a great year to actually carry those resolutions through. So, you know how sometimes it is that we have all these aspirations of all these things that we want to do, whether it be like a fitness routine or a diet or all these New Year's resolutions that we have. And you'll notice that sometimes throughout the year, those can kind of trail off or we can get sidetracked or whatever else. And so that way, sometimes New Year's resolutions can kind of turn into a little bit of a joke after a while. This is really not a year where those New Year's resolutions are a joke. This is a year where you can actually have the willpower and the steadfastness and the consistency to keep up with some of those things that you're wanting to bring into your life. Right at the end of 2019, and we're talking about December 25th and December 26th, we are going to have an eclipse in the sign of Capricorn that's kind of going to give us a little bit of a feel of what the upcoming year is going to be like. And it's just going to give us that extra push that we need to start some of those things that we've had in the back of our mind that we've been wanting to do. But for some reason, there's been, oh, I don't have enough time, or like, oh, I can't really fit that into my schedule, or I don't have the motivation to do that, or that's not possible with my family's schedule and all this other going on for me to do that, to pursue that. Oh, I can't afford that. There's all these things, there's all these doubts been going on in our mind about why we can't pursue a goal or something that we've been really wanting to do, something that we know that would be good for us, right? So this eclipse coming in on the 25th on the West Coast, and more on the East Coast is going to be more like, possibly on the 26th, but right around there. Some people are already feeling this energy. I know I am. And it's like that push to really start something new and get rid of any kind of self-doubt talk that we've been telling ourselves in regards to starting new goals, in regards to starting to be motivated to take on certain routines, certain healthy routines. And that's what 2020 is really about. So when I call 2020 a practical year, it's about forming healthy boundaries, healthy routines, and something that you're able to consistently do, right? Something that's feasible, something where you can do it on a daily basis, right? Starting a new routine, a new cycle, and being consistent with it, putting in the hard work with it. So another mistake that we make in regards to New Year's resolutions is that we're so gung-ho about it. And I'll give you an example, right? Diet. Diet is a huge New Year's resolution where people, tend to start to fade out a little bit throughout the year and fail to be consistent with it. And part of the reason that is because we go into it and we're too extreme. we're too extreme about it, right? We want quick results. We're so gung-ho about it that we just want to jump in and we take it too far to where it becomes unrealistic and unattainable. Okay, so I really want to caution you about that in the upcoming year, 2020. Like I said, I'm going to call 2020 the year of practical, being practical, right? Doing something that's realistic, starting to change certain habits, little things that you can do, little routines on a daily basis where, it's not obtainable, right? It's something that you can keep up with. It's something that you can continue to do and get yourself into good habits moving forward. Really crucial, really crucial. And you know what? That also takes planning. I would have to say that for those of you who are more kind of like fly by the seat of their pants, spontaneous, go with the flow, let's just see what happens type of people, this might be a difficult year for you. This type of energy is asking you to focus on and to plan. And quite frankly, I think this is an excellent year to start out a new decade, because if we're making healthy changes and we're thinking practically and we're slowly working towards our objectives, then that is a good foundation to start for what we want coming up for the next 10 years, okay? So where do we see ourselves 10 years from now, okay? Where do we want to be? What are some goals that we have? And what can we do on a daily basis? What kind of routines, what kind of changes can we make in our routines to slowly work towards achieving that goal? And that's really what it's about. Capricorn is really about consistency and putting in the work and putting in the time. And it's really obtainable this year in 2020. The other thing I think that's really important to bring up to you guys in regards to 2020 is it's not a time to be frivolous, okay? It's not a time to be frivolous with money. If anything, it's a time to work on perhaps like saving money, paying off debt. I wouldn't suggest using credit cards this year if you can prevent it. I would consider, if you can do it, possibly paying off debt if you can, paying off those credit cards. I just wouldn't do a lot of acquiring of new debt this year. This is a year more where you are working on being more self-sufficient, right? Instead of relying on creditors to be able to help you live the kind of life that, you feel like you want to. This year is about working with what we already have. Okay, so not necessarily about, just, being flamboyant and like a kid in a candy shop saying, oh, I need a new vehicle, or, oh, I need this, or I want this. It's really about taking a look at what you have, being satisfied with what you have, being appreciative with what you have, and being able to use what you have and your current abilities to be able to produce something more. So there's also a lot of creativity that comes into this year when it comes down to that. So yeah, not a great year to be frivolous with money. And instead of living over and above our means, we need to think about even maybe living even a little bit below our means, right? Where can we save money on our finances? Where can we nip and tuck a little bit? Can we start using coupons for grocery shopping, right? What kind of extras are we getting in regards to groceries that we really don't need to get? How can we save some money on some monthly bills, right? Are there ways that we can save money there? Things like that. Can we afford to put even like $10 a month into a savings account? Anything is better than nothing. And I'm referring to myself in that way as well, because I have some kind of issue with saving money. It just like, I'm just like, why? It seems like a waste, but it's not. It's not. This isn't in preparation for becoming more self-sufficient, right? So for example, when it comes to finances, you could take a simple thing like, you eat out every day for lunch, right? You don't bring your lunch to work. You go out and eat out. So let's say you spend an average of $10 every day. Okay. That's $50 a week. That is $200 a month. that you're spending on eating out, which, quite frankly, isn't the most healthiest option. All right. So there's that. There's the health aspect of it. And the financial aspect of it is ridiculous. That's ridiculous. It'd be so much cheaper for you to go to the grocery store, pick out some healthy options for your lunch, and get into a healthy routine and a healthy habit of preparing your lunch either the night before or that morning and taking your lunch to work and saving $200 a month, right? And in the process, probably improving your health. Let's be honest. It's that type of thing, right? Do we need to be spending $7 on a Starbucks coffee every morning? No. The answer is no. You don't need that. Is that a little luxury? Is it okay for you to go get a Starbucks once in a while? Absolutely. No big deal. I'm talking about those daily routines that we get ourselves into, and really taking a look at that, and really taking a look at the way that we're spending. In regards to refinancing your home or refinancing your car, those big loans that you're thinking, when you're in the mindset of, saving money and becoming more self-sufficient in the year 2020, a lot of people will consider refinancing. Be careful when it comes to that. Just make sure that the sometimes your loan officer or your lender is not going to focus too much on the fees that are taking place. In order to do that refinance, and you don't really notice it that much because it's kind of tacked onto your loan. Make sure that, that's great if you can refinance and get less of an interest rate or lower payments or whatever else. Just make sure that the fees that are being charged for that refinance don't go over and above what you're saving. Okay, because that kind of defeats the point, right? Doesn't it? So make sure in regards to finances also that you're getting like a couple of different opinions, right? Or a couple of different quotes, right? Do your research. It's really important to follow through and do your research this year. Even if you have professionals like professional financial advisors or professional doctors, make sure that you're doing your research and being accountable for those decisions, being accountable for your health, being accountable for your finances. Yes, we hire professionals because they are know more than us about these things, but it's really important to be informed and make sure that those decisions are coming from you and they're not being dictated by someone else. Okay. So yeah, let's talk about health. Health is a big one. We all know, like a lot of people have those New Year's resolutions, like I'm gonna get in shape. I'm going to go to, the gym. I'm going to start eating better. Eating better is a great aspiration. It helps us feel better. It gives us more energy. So, think about considering to eat more unprocessed foods this year, right? It doesn't have to be like a specific diet, right? That has a label to it, to simplify all of that. If you're eating unprocessed, natural, whole foods, the chances are, number one, you're going to lose weight, and number two, you're going to feel fantastic. So, it doesn't have to be so complicated. We don't have to label everything and try to find the right diet and all that stuff. Just, buy fresh produce, guys. Buy meat that, that doesn't have a bunch of added antibiotics and hormones and stuff like that in there. So you don't have to, get into this little game of rules unless that specifically helps you to do that. The other thing is, again, this is about consistency. So I don't necessarily recommend just completely jumping into something and completely like eliminating any type of food group. You want to be diligent where you're slowly starting to work in and allowing your body to get used to a new diet. The same thing goes with exercise, okay, you guys? You probably shouldn't go from like not exercising at all to saying, I'm going to exercise, 7 days a week. Number one, you're going to get sick. Have you guys ever noticed that? Like when you're like totally like amped up and ready to go to the gym and you start working out a lot, like a lot of times like people will get sick, and it's just because your body's not used to that. So instead of like putting your body in total shock, not to mention that if you haven't been exercising and your diet hasn't been the best, we have that a little bit of a lower immune system going on there. And if you're going to a gym, yes, I understand there's smoothies and you can wipe down everything, but there's a lot of bodily liquids going on there. I know that sounds really gross, but gyms can be very virus and bacteria prone just because a lot of people are in there sweating. We're just going to be frank about it. So, I mean, there's a lot of work you guys can even do if you're just starting out with an exercise routine. Instead of going and spending a bunch of money on a monthly gym membership, we have access to so much information online, you guys, with like Pinterest and Google and everything else. You can simply look up exercises to do at home. I mean, if you're just like really kind of starting to exercise, or if you're restarting to exercise, a lot of times you don't need equipment. You don't need machines. You can use your own body weight to do those type of exercises, and listen to some music at home and do some cardio. If you are the type of person who has the motivation to exercise at home, I know a lot of people, including myself, have a hard time. It's like once we get home in the evening, especially like if it's dark during the year, it's like, who wants to come in home and exercise? You put some like comfies on and you're done, so if that's the case, and you have a lot of stuff going on at home and you feel like you need to go somewhere specific for that being your time. So really good to get into health routines this year. I also suggest, even if you're feeling great and you have no reason to go to the doctor, I highly suggest you get those preventative annual exams. I highly suggest that you get a basic blood panel done, right? I mean, I went and got a basic blood panel done, and, I was feeling I was feeling fine, right? I didn't really have any other issues. And my blood panel came back and it showed that I was like anemic, like really anemic. And I didn't understand that. I didn't really understand what anemia was. I thought that was for like, skinny, pale people, but it turns out that a lot of women suffer with anemia, not even knowing it. So I had to start taking iron supplements, and the change that made in me in regards to my energy level, in regards to the way that I'm able to obtain information, is huge. It's phenomenal. And I never would have known. I never would have known if my doctor hadn't requested a general blood panel. So, I highly suggest doing something like that. Be preemptive with your healthcare this year. Go in, get checked out, see if you've got all the vitamins and that you need, and that you're getting the nutrition to stay healthy and energetic in order to achieve all of these good goals that are coming in for the year 2020. So let's talk a little bit about 2020 and its possible effect on relationships. I think that 2020 is going to be very eye-opening in regards to relationships, and here's why. Everyone's going to have their own specific goals, right? Things that they've been putting off that they suddenly have the energy and the motivation to achieve. So, in regards to partnerships, it's great to sit down with your partner and go over some specific things together, and see if you're on the same page as far as where you see yourself going as a couple, as a family within the next 10 years. Where would you like to be? And see if you can kind of sync up and see where you are together as partners, to see how you're going to accomplish this, and little things that you can do every day to maybe save a little bit more money, or just different things that you can do. But the important aspect of that is sitting down and sharing with each other, where, and not enough couples do this, right? Where are we going? And what can we do to achieve that? And the reason I say it could be eye-opening is because you and your partner, you guys might have a completely different idea in mind about where you want to go or where you see yourself. I mean, your partner could be completely satisfied with things just the way they are, but you're wanting a change, you're wanting something more, or you're wanting something different. So again, very eye-opening to sit down with your partner and go over those things. The other thing that's going to be very eye-opening in the year 2020 is we not only have goals that we want to accomplish as a family unit and as a partnership, but we have, again, those personal goals that each of us on an individual basis are seeking to accomplish. So what's interesting about this and what I love about this aspect is it kind of, I really feel like it's kind of going to break down some of those codependent relationships. I tell you what, guys, I have seen such a rise in codependent relationships. It's making me really, really nervous. It's not healthy. It's not good. My personal perspective is one of the reasons why people are getting into more and more codependent relationships is because of the fact that there's a little bit of a loss of face-to-face interaction and communication and community in general, right? We have advanced so far technology wise. I mean, how often do we really actually even talking to someone on the phone, right? A lot of things, even with family, are through text, stuff like that. So we're missing and definitely not kind of a breakdown of community because everything's so easy to do technologically. There's not as necessarily as much like human interaction, one-on-one human interaction, and we're missing that. I'm going to be quite frank with you guys. We're missing that. So even though technology is very convenient, I mean, it's a way for me to get this video out to a lot of different people are able to see it. Great. There's great aspects to technology, but we are missing a little bit of that human one-on-one contact, and it's essential. So what happens with codependent relationships is we don't have a bunch of like one-on-ones as much as we did before. And so we are having this one-on-one interaction on a regular basis with one specific person, right? That's where that specific person is feeding that interaction and that support that we would have been getting from a group of people. Now it's just one person that we have that daily in-person interaction with. And so it's very easy for two individuals to rely on each other so much because it's like, that's what you just do, right? And it's easy to do that in their lives. And I understand when you're in a partnership, of course, your lives are combined and there's compromise and working together and you're living your life together. But it's so important to keep those individual goals and those individual things that make you who you are. I mean, so many couples get so wrapped up in each other and what's going on in each other's lives that they literally forget who they are and what their niche is in the world, what they're here to do, and they forget themselves, and it's really unhealthy. There's usually in these codependent relationships one person who is a whole lot more needy than the other person. So for instance, if one person does have a little bit more individuality, knows where they want to go, has the energy to accomplish those things, and you have another partner who isn't quite so sure of themselves and doesn't really know what they want to do with life and doesn't understand what they want or what kind of future they see for themselves, they are more likely to latch on to the person who produces that type of energy because they don't have that for themselves. And it's not fair to either side because for the person who is trying to get things done and does have personal aspirations for themselves, they're so busy walking on eggshells and taking care of the other partner, and everything revolves around the other partner, that they don't take the time and the initiative to do those things for themselves. Okay. And it's not healthy for the other person who's codependent because they need to be able to stand up on their own and come up with their own energy and come up with their own solutions. You can't. Here's the thing. If you go into a relationship or if you are in a relationship relying on your partner to make you happy, to complete you in some way, you're going to be sorely disappointed, okay? Because that's too much to ask of someone. It's not that I'm saying like, as a partnership, the thing about it is you're supposed to lift each other up, right? You're supposed to support each other. but you're also supposed to be able to stand up on your own two feet because your partner also needs you to be the strong one once in a while, right? Your partner, even though they might seem very strong, also needs to be able to lean on you. So it's very mutual. And so it's really important to get into a relationship being a fulfilled person on an individual basis. I want to touch on something else really quick while we're on this subject. Moms. Moms, you guys are really, really bad. Not all of you. That's being stereotypical, but moms are nurturers. That's what they do, right? They're always taking care of everybody. Please, please, please set aside some time for yourself this year to create some of your own individual goals. And when I'm talking about goals, I'm not talking about goals for your family. I'm not talking about goals for your kids. I'm not talking about goals for your spouse. I am talking about specific goals that are specifically for you and have absolutely nothing to do with anyone else. Okay? I hope that you guys are hearing me when I say that. It's very important. I'm noticing a lot of, people around my age and friends my age are having their kids are going off to college, and they are like having some serious like empty nester syndrome. They don't even know what to do with themselves because their whole life has revolved around other people, so much to the fact that they don't even know who they are anymore when their children are not in the picture. Okay? Take care of yourself, because here's the thing, as a nurturer, if you're constantly giving, 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 and you're not taking time to refill your cup and refill your energy and refill your creativity, eventually, it's almost like there's nothing left to give, right? You're depleted. So in order for you to be the type of wife and mother that you want to be, and really, take care of people the way that you need and want to take care of them, you've got to take care of yourself. Super important. Here's the other, and that's what's going to lead into the other eye-opening thing when in regards to relationships. Especially if you are in a codependent relationship, right? So you and your partner need to make time and compromise in regards to personal goals that you have for yourself. An example, right? One partner decides, hey, I really need to work on my fitness. I need to start exercising. I need to schedule in some time for myself to do this, right? Well, if you have kids or you have a partner, that takes compromise, right? Because it might change the schedule a little bit. Say you want to go to the gym 3 days a week, right? Right after work. Okay, so that might require your partner to maybe pick up the kids, or maybe get dinner started or something like that, something that allows you to be able to go to the gym 3 days a week. Okay, so there's a little bit of compromise there, and vice versa, because your partner hopefully will have their own things that they want to do as well. So it's going to take a little bit of compromise on your part for your partner to be able to fit that in. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the eye-opening part of it. Here's the twist. Your partner can either be really supportive and be excited of the fact that you want to, do something healthy for yourself, and they're willing to compromise with you, and they're willing to do what it takes for you to meet your goals and uplift you and be what a partner is essentially supposed to be, a partner, right? Or the flip side, especially in codependent relationships, is that you are going to find that your partner is very unsupportive, that they don't like it because it interferes with their schedule. They don't like the fact that you have something going on that has nothing to do with them. That's a very codependent thing, right? If you start to notice that your partner is overreacting because maybe you decided to go back to school this year, you've been wanting to go back to school, and you're spending a little bit more time on homework, and you're having to spend a little bit more time going to classes. And that time is specifically for you because you've decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and finish that degree I've been wanting to finish, right? If you have a partner that is not supportive and that's complaining that you're not spending enough time with your family and that you're not spending enough time with him or her, it's going to be kind of eye-opening, right? in regards to someone just being a little bit selfish that way because they're used to getting all of your attention. They're used to getting all of your energy, so to speak, right? And that change is going to make them very uncomfortable, right? That's like a control issue a little bit. So keep your eye open for stuff like that. Keep your eye open. Just take a look at the way that your partner's reacting to some of the goals that you're bringing in. Like I said, I feel like this is going to be a very big exposure year for codependent relationships, like where you're like, whoa, something's a little bit off here, you know, which quite frankly is good. I'm sorry, it's not like I'm wanting anyone to have relationship problems or breakups or anything like that. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But I think there's going to be a little bit of a realistic aspect come in this year in regards to, you know, equality in relationships and what's fair, right? Yeah, so super important to focus on that if you're dating this year, if you want to, if you want to find a partner this year, if you're single and you're looking for a partner. Again, just make sure that you and that partner, whatever kind of relationship that you're getting into, you know, have kind of similar goals and aspirations that you're wanting to reach towards this year. Because again, it's going to be very difficult if you have a partner where those goals don't align. It's going to cause some conflict. If you're single and you're not looking for a relationship, this is an excellent year to really focus in on things that you've been wanting to do, on your health, on your finances, and really working on fulfilling yourself. And so that way, when you are ready to get into a relationship, that you come to that relationship as a whole person. Let's dip back into finances again. I forgot to mention to you guys, not a good year for gambling, not a good year for risky stock investments, not a good year for risky anything. It's just a good year to settle in. Property is another earth type of thing, right? So not a good year to necessarily say, oh, you know, I'm sick of my yard. It doesn't look good. I'm going to hire a landscaping company to come in and redo the entire yard. If you already have the funds set aside to do that, and this has been a goal for a while, and it's not going to affect you financially in any other way, go for it. But if it's like a spur of the moment type of, oh, let's have someone come in and just redo all of this, right? Especially if you're going to put it on any kind of a credit, not a good idea. This is more about like hard work and working with what you have. So if you don't like your yard, I can tell you again, there's so much information available on the internet in regards to DIY projects. You know, specifically, there are so many different materials that you can buy that are cheaper, and it's about putting in the physical work and the physical labor, right? There are so many things that we can do to improve our property and do it ourselves, and maybe it takes a little bit longer. Maybe we have to, you know, put in more work on the weekend on specific things, watch sales, you know, on specific products and stuff like that. You know, watch videos on lawn care and specific plants or whatever that thrive in your zone, in your area. But yeah, I mean, you can do a lot of that yourself, guys. It's all about really taking what's available to you and working with it. Again, if you're trying to up the value of your property and you decide, I'm going to go get granite countertops, right? Make sure you're really taking a look at every aspect of that. Take a look at the comps in your area, at what the other houses in your area are selling for, because you might decide to put all new high-end appliances and granite countertops, and you're thinking that's gonna like up the equity of your house or your property so much, but in reality your property value is also very restricted to what the house is selling around you are, you know. So again, if these are things that you've already put money aside for, you've already saved for, it's a plan, it's something that you're already doing, and you know that it's not going to put any kind of a financial burden on you, and or you're planning on staying in this house and it's just something that you want to do for, you know, because you want that, because that's a personal thing that you're wanting, go for it. I'm just saying, be a little bit frugal this year, be a little bit smart about what you're doing and where you're spending your money. So again, really, really dynamic year to really get some things done. And let me tell you what, when you start all these healthy daily routines, and you see yourself succeeding at them, your self-esteem is just going to like go through the ceiling, you guys. When you're able to tackle something you've been wanting to do, and you have the motivation, and you put in the consistency and the hard work, and you start to see some of those things come into to fruition, there's something that's so rewarding about that, and so satisfying about that on such a deep level. So I highly encourage you, and I have been encouraging you guys for the last couple of months, to take a look at what's no longer serving you, right, in the past year. Focus on what you want more of, and also add to that, looking towards a little bit longer term. Where do I want to see myself, and what are the daily things that I can incorporate in my life in order to get there? I have to mention that this type of energy brings a lot of change, okay? I know. I know that some of us aren't the best with change. It's intimidating, it's scary, we don't know what lies ahead. You guys, this year has a lot of change coming in, and that is going to continue. That is going to progress. So you're going to see a lot of change going on this year all around you, right? Just in society in general. Try to remain focused and positive about your personal goals that you're pursuing, and don't get so caught up in fear, all right? And the fear of change, and the fear of what you see happening around you, and the fear of what's going to happen in your personal life, because that disempowers you. It disempowers you. And so for those of us who have difficulty with change, and who like to just keep things the way they are, this could potentially be a very difficult year. Again, for those of you who have trouble planning and sticking to a routine, and this, you could even see some type of crisis this year. Here's the flip side of this energy, in regards to, relationships, in regards to being spontaneous and being frivolous. You could possibly see some type of crisis for that type of lifestyle this year. So that's the flip side of this energy. If you are, kind of fly by the seat of your pants, and you're not planning anything, you could feel like you're just running on a treadmill this year and nothing's getting done, okay? Because this year is really focused on putting in the work, and making the plan and sticking to it, and that consistency, all right? Again, a lot of change, just try to deal with it, you guys. It's going to happen regardless of whether you're prepared for it or you like it or not, okay? It's just one of those years, and it's a good time that this is coming in, that this is preparing us. There's one of the reasons, there's a very good reason why this energy is coming in, and it's coming in at the perfect time, at the beginning of this decade, okay? What this energy is trying to help us with is trying to help us become more self-sufficient, okay? There's an independence a little bit to this energy, and it's all in preparation, okay? We have, at the end of this year, at the end of 2020, we have Jupiter and Saturn moving into the sign of Aquarius. So what does this mean? Basically, let me break it down for you this way. For 200 years now, we have had these planets be in Earth signs, all right, in Taurus, or these are, and so the focus has been, or where the power has been for the last 200 years, has been on earthly things like machinery and coal and fuel, and that has been where the money has, and the power has been in those kind of industries, right? We are moving into Aquarius at the end of 2020. You might not see changes right away, but I have a feeling, it's going to happen pretty quickly. So what that means, in the next 30 years or so, we are going to see more of a breakdown of hierarchies, right? Higher governing bodies or corporations, right? Or just there's going to be a breakdown of that, because the people are going to demand it, right? People just in general, like planetary wise, are getting really sick and tired of being dictated to, okay? Following rules and regulations or even societal standards that really have nothing to do with them, right? Hey, there's this rule and regulation and it's in place for a certain reason, and I get that, but it's really not me. It's really not, doesn't really do anything for me. It's not good for me, and I don't want to do this. Okay. So you're going to start to see people in the next 30 years really kind to try to move away from hierarchies that are constricting their freedom and constricting their ability to live the life the way that they want to live it. Okay. So what happens when these hierarchies or these corporations, large corporations, start to get the feeling that people are doing that people are moving, are moving away from that, and they're just kind of like, not paying attention to it anymore. What you have, what happens is you have those hierarchies and those corporations and those higher powers really, really starting to put in even stronger regulations, even stronger rules, because they feel like they're losing control. So we're going to start to see this, like say, so if you work for a big corporation, you're going to start to see, your corporation start to really put some high standards and regulations and, really do this, do this, do this. And what's interesting about it, and this year in particular, it's going to start like this in 2020, where people are just going to say, I'm tired of living paycheck to paycheck, and I'm going to look for a way to see if I can make some extra money. Maybe I'm going to do a side job, or maybe I'm going to take whatever my hobby is, and however I'm being creative, and maybe I'll make a little bit of money on it on the side, right? You're going to see a lot of that this year. A lot of entrepreneurs coming into the scene, very, very much Capricornian energy. And, as it turns out, I mean, maybe that little hobby that they thought was only going to be a little bit of extra money with the work and the diligence and the consistency that they're putting into that this year could eventually turn up to be their like source income, right? Where they don't even have to work for a corporation anymore. They can work for themselves and work their own schedule and run their business the way that they want to run their business without having to be dictated to. So you're going to see a rise in entrepreneurship for sure. Especially in the next decade, because again, people are just kind of getting tired of being told what to do. They want to live their lives by their own standards. We're starting to, as society in general, think a little bit more outside of the box, right? What works for you might not work for me. And it's especially when it comes to those societal norms, like, oh, by a certain age you need to be married and, have kids and the white picket fence. And some people are like, you know what? I don't want kids. Or, you know what? I just want a little cabin out in the middle of nowhere. That's what I want. Or, I'm okay being single. People are just, I feel like enough people are living like this where you don't have those as much of a societal pressure on you to be living your life a certain way, in a way that doesn't particularly work for you. So, we're going to see a lot of that in the next 30 years as we go into the age of Aquarius. Okay. So this year has a lot to do with the preparation of being more sufficient, not needing creditors, not needing loans, because we've figured out to live within our means and not live over our means in a way that we can afford to live simply and live happily, and not owe our life to a corporation or a company or a bank or anyone else. Okay. So really exciting times coming up. Again, a lot of change, a lot of things being brought up, a lot of, things that we've been telling ourselves that are incorrect or just negligent are going to change, and we're going to be changing our perspectives on what we feel is a healthy way for us to move forward into the next decade. Really exciting stuff. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get to your monthly readings for the month of January. Hi, Taurus. Hello, hello. Happy January. Happy New Year. I'm doing something a little bit different this month because of the fact that the intro to the video was super long. Longer than I expected it to be. There was just too much information to talk about in regards to 2020. But so what I did is I went ahead and pre-shuffled and pulled your cards. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on for you in the month of January. So the first card out is the Eight of Cups. Underneath that, we have the King of Swords. Next card is the Knight of Rods. Under that, we have Major Arcana, the Hermit. The Four of Swords. And the last card is the Magician, Major Arcana, the Magician. Wow, Taurus, you guys have a pretty damn powerful reading to start the new year off with. Yep. Yeah. So let's dissect, shall we? Let's figure out what's going on for the month of January. The Eight of Cups. Cups is the suit of emotions. The Eight of Cups shows you leaving behind that no longer serves you in the month of January. Now, here's the thing with the Eight of Cups, because that might sound great, right? What? New year, out with the old, in with the new. The Eight of Cups is a little bit different, okay? I call this the bittersweet card. So it's not just walking away and just willy-nilly saying, okay, screw that, that didn't work out, I'm going to go in a new direction. It's a little bit more involved when it comes to the Eight of Cups. There is emotions there. Look at all those cups he's built up. Those are all memories. Those are all emotional investments, right? There's a lot there. But this man has realized, man or woman or whoever, has realized that all of these cups are no longer cutting it. There's change. Something's changed. It's not fulfilling anymore. It doesn't provide the type of, emotional fulfillment that it once did. And so he's willing to take all of that, all of those memories, and walk away not even knowing what's ahead. All right? Again, it's bittersweet, you guys, especially when it comes to emotions, right? Because at one point or another, that was everything to you. It meant everything. There's good and bad aspects to every situation. So say you're walking away from something that ended up being painful or disappointing in some way, shape, form, or another, or it didn't turn out the way that you thought it was going to, and so you've decided, hey, I've just got to let go. But there's so much history there, Like I said, even if it might be a difficult or bad situation, there's still emotions there. There's still good memories there as well. There's a lot. There's a lot of emotional history there that you're choosing to move on from. So, while you do know that it's time to move on because it's no longer serving its purpose, that doesn't mean that how it feels is going to be the easiest, right? There's a sadness to it. But isn't that how life is? When we move on to new cycles, there's like a discomfort, but it's growing pains, Taurus. It's growing pains. It's needed. It's just, it's not the same anymore. It's not the same, and it's just not cutting it for you. And you have chosen, as painful as it might be initially, that it's time to move on. Okay? That's the Eight of Cups. So, especially I think coming into the new year, I think that you guys are knowledgeable that, as much as it hurts to walk away from something, you need to do that in order to progress. It's time. It's time. And like I said, with the King of Swords right underneath that, to clarify, the King of Swords is a very mentally sound person. He knows. It doesn't have to be him. It can be, he or she. They just know. They have that mental clarification. They've made their decision, right? Logically, they're very in touch with themselves. They're able to communicate what's on their mind very clearly. This is very clear and concise. So I feel like you guys have made the decision. You've made the decision. You already know, and you're ready to move on and start something new. Okay. Then right next to that, or right next to the Eight of Cups, you have the Knight of Rods. This really is, you guys, the fastest knight of the four knights. Rods stands for action, right? Passion, creativity, and this knight really goes charging in. This represents quick action. And he's pointing directly at the Eight of Cups. And so, you guys, I feel like in the month of January, like you come to like a decision, you're going to be changing directions, that you're going to be leaving something in the rearview mirror this month. And you've come to that decision, and you just go. You just do it. It might even come as a surprise to some people, right? That it might even come to something that seems like it's just out of nowhere, but it's not. It's not out of nowhere. You guys have been considering it. You've been thinking about it, and you've come to a decision. Eight of Cups can almost be, it's almost like when you're leaving something behind, it's not even this big dramatic deal either. It's kind of like you just kind of walk away in the night, quietly leaving something behind. It can be shocking for other people, but you have tried to prepare yourself for it in the best way that you know how. So, the Eight of Cups is also, I mean, if you take a look at the card, I mean, he doesn't really know where he's going next. He just knows that, this is no longer the place for him to be. So it's almost like a little bit risky too at the same time, because he's not exactly sure of he's sure of what he's moving away from, but he may not be necessarily sure of what he's moving towards. He just knows that he needs a change. He needs a change. So you have the major arcana card, the Hermit, coming out. Perfect timing, Taurus. Okay, the Hermit is when we take some solitude and some time out to really go deep inside and reflect. And as you can see, he's got the lantern there. That lights the way for him, right? That lights the way on the path. It provides illumination. So sometimes we have to really go within and spend some quiet time to ourselves to really reflect and make some decisions and figure out where it is that we want to go next. And the next card like really depicts that as well. This is taking time out, resting, just resting. I think, Taurus, that it might have taken a lot out of you mentally, maybe even physically, to come to this decision. Because like I said, the Eight of Cups is a bittersweet card. All right, you're giving up all that you've acquired emotionally. So it is a time of rest and reflection for you guys. It just might be a good idea just to take some time to really just be with yourself this month and really take time to absorb from everything. The Four of Swords is also a card of healing. It's a card of healing and resting. And I think that you guys deserve that, Taurus. You deserve some time to just rest and reflect and just be. You don't have to have a destination right away. Just really take some time with yourself. Really take some time to think and reflect and be with yourself. Because underneath that, you have Major Arcana, the Magician. This guy has all the tools. He has all the suits. He has cups, he has swords, he has pentacles, he has rods. He has everything that he needs in order to manifest whatever he wants. So when you guys are ready, when you're rested, when you're healed, when you've reflected and you have a better feel for yourself and where you want to go and what you want to do with this upcoming year, you can absolutely do it. There's no question about it, Taurus. You guys have everything that you need in order to manifest exactly what you want for 2020. You just got to figure out what that is. And you're well on your way. You're well on your way. Excellent reading. Excellent reading, Taurus. If there's not a better time to do this than right now, to go through this process. And like I said, you guys knew it was coming. You guys knew that you were in a process of letting something go and moving on. And the fact that you're going into the new year and you've decided to take that step and you've decided to progress and move forward with your life is really good. I'm really happy for you guys. I'm really excited about this. Awesome. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to pull your advice card from a deck called Earth Magic. And so it should resonate with you guys since you're an Earth sign. But I'm also doing this in honor of the fact that we have a lot of Earth energy for the year of 2020. So I thought, why not honor that by pulling an Earth card? I'm going to read the definition of the card directly from the book because the author of this deck is outstanding the way that he describes things and brings everything in. Those are two cards. So yeah. Part of me always wonders when that happens. I'm like, should I pull two? But I really want more focus for you guys. Because you're already a little bit having to take time to focus. So I really would want one clear. Taurus, why do you guys keep on getting two cards? So be it. So be it. That's what it wants to do, so that's what it's going to do. All right, you get two guidance cards. Good. The first card you have is the Ocean card, Ebb and Flow. The next card you have is River, Movement. All right, Let's go ahead and break these up and see what happens here, Taurus. Just give me just a sec to find these things in the book, and we'll figure out what we got going on. Ocean. Ocean, we're going to do this one first. Ocean card, ebb and flow. An important aspect in the art of living is to move with the ebb and flow of your emotions, joining their fluidity, but not being captured by it. It is also not necessary to become obsessed with any particular fluctuation in mood or feeling. They are simply emotions, often activated in ways that are completely beyond your understanding. When you neither minimize or exaggerate the intensity and importance of your emotions, you then have a greater sense of when and how to express them. You have been fighting the ebb and flow of your own feelings, denying your hurt, anger, or sorrow by either attaching yourself to one or the other and nurturing it as if it were a nursing child, or else soothing over your feelings with more practical responses that deny and hide what is going on beneath the surface of your expression. When you attempt to constrict yourself from experiencing your emotions, it is much like trying to stem the tides that grow even more forceful with every attempt humans make to control them. Allow yourself to swim with these variations rather than resisting them. Yeah. Yeah, Taurus. It's okay to be sad and upset about this. Just because you know logically it's the right thing to do doesn't make it any easier. It's okay. It's really important for you guys this month to take this time out and to let yourself feel those things, okay? To let them come and go, let them come in, let them wash out, release them. And take in all the information that they provide. Take time and some solitude and some rest to yourself this month, Taurus, and allow yourself to heal, okay? Let these emotions come, let them go, let them run their course, all right? It's really important for you guys to do that so that you're prepared to take on new tasks, new directions. I like that. I like that. All right, let's see what River says. River. Going the wrong way. Where is it? There it is. Okay. It says, fighting or blocking the flow of your life force can lead you to feeling spiritually void and disconnected from source. Just like the metaphor of the river, it does not work to force or fight this compelling movement. When you simply pay attention and observe the flow, it becomes easier to navigate your experiences and see what lies ahead, or at least get a sense of what is to come by the ever-changing geography that unfolds as you cruise along. Your resistance is hampering your ability to make a choice in this matter. Surrender to the movement of life, be grateful, and you will see the signs along the shore and in the river itself that offer you clues about the direction your egoless self is to be making. Go with the flow is more than a trite aphorism here. It is essential that you do so now. Breathe, relax, and you will know. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much amazing, you know, kind of like the same kind of concept. That river card is the Hermit. You know, when you leave yourself open to the ability to just let things come in and stop being resistant to information, or stop being on the defense in an effort to try to prevent yourself from hurting or feeling out of control, That's where you're going to get your answers. That's where you're going to get your guidance. This is such a powerful month for you guys, Taurus. I mean, it's really good. Are there some complicated energies to deal with here? Yeah, yeah. But you guys are handling it. You're handling it in a good way, and you're processing it all. And it's helping you to decide where to go next, which is perfect. Perfect time to do this, Taurus. This is the right time. You guys are doing what needs to be done at exactly the right time. And I'm excited to see what the future holds for you. I'm excited to see where you guys are going to be going next and what you're going to be accomplishing this year. I'm really excited. If you guys, if you would like any more specific information, I am going to start accepting personal readings effective January 1st. The information on how to order a personal reading from me is going to be in the About section on my home YouTube page. So please feel free to contact me if you would like a little bit more information and guidance this month. I know that you guys are going to get through this and come back on the other side more powerful than ever and more anxious and ready to start the new year the way it should be started. Mwah! I love you guys, and I will see you next time.